Fairy Tail Wonder's Quest has released a chapter officially ending the Gold Owl or Viernus arc. And what I have to say with this is that I am incredibly disappointed, and I will fully take the L on this one, as last time when I talked about these chapters, I said that this fight wasn't going to be over, but it seems that this fight has ended. However, despite the disappointment of this arc's ending and Viernus as a whole, the ending of this chapter does give me excitement and hope, as it seems we're finally getting to Ignia towards the end. I will go over each of the events in the chapter as they go on and give my full thoughts there. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos if you want to see more. It keeps me motivated to keep making these videos for you guys. And I'm going to try and regularly put in the chapter reviews as they come out, see how they do, if there is enough content for me to make a full video one, and this one gives me enough to make a decent sized video. I've also got some videos planned out in the future that I will put in between these chapters, so look forward to those. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into things. So chapter 153 of 100 Years Quest, titled A Miracle of Love. And obviously with a title like that, the cover image is just going to be Gray and Juvia on the cover, which honestly very nice and very wholesome. But moving on, we cut to Elefsir looking at the stone tablet that he has that is monitoring all of the dragon gods as the light flickers and goes out, as it is shown that the gold dragon god Viernus has officially been defeated and sealed away. Elefsir says that it seems that it cost him Athena, and asks for forgiveness from her as one of the people that brought her into this world, but states that it will all be over soon. Only one of the 5 dragon gods remains, Ignia, the fire dragon god. The 100 Years Quest will be completed after more than a century. As we cut back to the end of the battle against Viernus, with Viernus fully destroyed, his body shattering apart, as Elefsir says, Fairy Tail will complete the most difficult job in the magical world. And so Viernus officially is defeated by Natsu. I was expecting some big twist at the fracturing of his entire body, but no, he is officially defeated. At least it wasn't a full-on one-shot in a single chapter, but I really wish this could have gone on longer. But yes, Viernus' body is officially shattered and is now literally raining gold. And so yeah, his body really was made out of gold. Lucy looks concerningly at the end of this, as Happy runs over to an exhausted Natsu. Natsu looks up with the biggest grin on his face, says, "That's 4 down. Now that just leaves Ignia." And I just love off on the side that Minerva and Sting are just celebrating the fact that they now have a shit ton of gold like in their disposal now. They're basically just going to take it and sell it for a huge chunk of money, with Urza being like, "You're seriously taking that home?" And I like Minerva just being completely honest and honestly kind of fair in this instance, that Fairy Tail to them fighting the dragon gods right now is a job, but Sabretooth ain't getting shit. So they might as well get paid for it with all the gold that they have here. And I just like how Frosh is just trying to eat a piece of Viernus, which is just dragon meat, essentially. But yeah, Wendy and Carla essentially have a moment to themselves, as Carla says that the entire guild and its members were essentially illusions, just like Kate's shelter. I like the allusion to Kate's shelter as well, as this does give Wendy a chance to reflect, but Wendy does state that this is completely different. Kate's shelter was an illusion created out of love. And that does make sense. The Gold Owl Guild was really created by Viernus for his own selfish goals and ideals. To just, actually, we don't even know full on what he really wanted to do besides maybe take out Ignia and the other dragon gods. But yeah, it was basically created out of his own selfish desires and him just controlling everybody. So, not the same. But I just like the callback to Kate's shelter, as this does give Wendy a chance to remember her past. But just then, something begins to come out of the rubble. Joel looks over, and him and Urza end up seeing that people coming out of the rubble are Luso and any of the Signario sisters, as apparently they are surprised that they're even still alive, and the fact that they're not even illusions that Viernus himself created. Luso says that they're the Signario sisters, but Eni says that they were traveling and someone stole their minds away, and that they can't remember anything. Wendy ends up mentioning Viernus' name, saying that he was controlling them as well, as then Eni realizes and recognizes the name Viernus, as we get a sinister dark shadow of these two being like, "Oh, so that's what happened. It knew we were its enemies." As this shocked Jalal and Urza, as the Signario sisters menacingly get up and says, "Yes, enemies of Viernus. We're disciples of the fire dragon god, members of Fire and Flame." So this right here actually makes the Signario sisters a bit more interesting and showcases that they weren't just one-off villains. So I just like that now we're getting some menacing aura from these two at this moment, and there's probably more that we're going to see from them, as Natsu goes on and asks them if they're with Ignia, since they mentioned the fire dragon god. Luco asks Eni if they should take care of them, as it seems like they're their enemies too, but Eni says that they should probably return to the castle, as essentially that they've been gone for a while. As Luno ends up saying, guess we don't have much of a choice, as the two of them erupt in a pillar of flames, as this shocks everybody that not only do they use fire, but they're wizards as well. And that they didn't even expect Ignia to have human allies though, and that it doesn't seem to be quite right. Urza ends up saying that in any case, we're going to fight Ignia. Now they're going to have to face those sisters again as they face off against Ignia. So really quick, I just want to state this one clear thing. While this whole arc has been ups and downs, not super consistent in terms of how things have gone for the fights, and Viernes as a whole has been completely disappointing, especially with the ending of this fight, the Signario sisters disappointed a lot of fans when they were introduced with their cool unique powers. But now, we're getting set up that they probably weren't even using their actual abilities in their fight against Urza. So, this sets them up to be actual threats, potentially. So, we're not seeing the last of them. They weren't taking out one-and-done villains in the singular arc. So, fingers crossed that they do more. And since it seems they have fire magic, they might be just fire wizards, or the possibility there might be other fire dragons that survived over the years under the protection and in service of Ignia. Which, since Ignia isn't a fan of humans, it would make sense that he would have some fire dragons in his employ, in his services, or even fire wizards that truly revere him as a god and serve him no matter what. So it's very possible that the alchemy that they used in their fight against Urza was not their actual power, and was shown why they were taken out so easily and they were controlled by Viernes. So if they have their full power now, we might actually get to see them be a true threat to everybody, and I kind of hope that is the case, because otherwise it'd just be like prolonging and basically kicking a dead horse at this point. So I really hope that they give us something good in the next arc as we go off to face Ignia. But as we continue after they left, someone begins to walk over calling out to Lucy. As we see Athena 2, the dark Athena that was created by the fake Duke. But as everyone's reacting to Athena 2, the evil one, Lucy stops him, looks over at Athena as she nods, as this is the actual Athena that they seemingly lost to become Viernes' vessel previously. Which, honestly, people called it. She was going to survive. I kind of hoped that she would actually die to give us some consequence in this arc, but it seems not. But maybe she'll play an important role later down the line, hopefully. Or she was just introduced and done in this one singular arc. We'll see how this goes. Athena says that somehow her consciousness and personality moved to this other version of Athena's body. So this shocks everybody, but Lucy just gives her a hug and says, I don't care how you got here, welcome back. As everyone's just happy that she survived, with Carla saying that this is essentially like Irene's magic. But Wendy just says, I didn't do any of this. As we cut over to the old Master Duke, as Wendy says, it probably wasn't even magic. Perhaps it was the power of love. Now, my honest opinion, technically that's the case, but I just think maybe Duke did some sort of thing with the Philosopher's Stone to transfer Athena's personality to the second Athena, most likely. I don't know how he would have known this. Maybe he would have done something as a failsafe to keep Athena around, because he might probably valued Athena as his creation and wanted her to live more. Though I do kind of wish we got a bit more with the old Master Duke, but that is what it is. Time then passes as we cut a day or two later, as we get a narration from Lucy, saying that Sabretooth went back to the guild with a huge sack of gold. The fake Duke had disappeared at some point, as they thought he was just an illusion created by Viernes. Elefsir ended up taking in Athena, and she's living as a human now. And she's gotten good at smiling, really embracing her emotions, as the Fairy Tale Guild go off in search of Ignia, the final dragon god. But they had one clue to find out where he was: the Fire God's castle, as we end the chapter with an image of what seems like Ignia's home base. So after so long, we finally made it to Ignia. This ends the chapter. And also from this image, it seems like Jalal is going to take part in the 100 Years quest as well. Maybe he signed a contract to help him out. After all, in this arc, Jalal essentially committed himself to essentially joining the Fairy Tale Guild. So I just like that he's along for the ride, gives him some more firepower in inevitable fights, and hopefully adds to potential new unison raid attacks. Maybe him and Urza will have a team up at some point that will actually look really cool. But yeah, that was the chapter. Disappointed in Viernes, disappointed in this arc as a whole. Really wish that Athena did not survive, that Viernes showed off his human form, and we had a continuous fight, but that is what it is. We did get two things off my Fairy Tale bingo card, which is Athena returns unharmed and Viernes is defeated. We got two things off this bingo card from this year, and essentially the majority of this has to do with mostly Viernes, Athena's called Rebellious. So, and the quadruple Dragon Force finish that I predicted. And it legitimately seems like we ain't getting all that. So the majority of this list is kind of gone. If you want to see the Fairy Tail bingo board in whole, go check out the video in the comments up above. For some reason, YouTube isn't letting me post it. But it seems like we're going to get Natsu versus Ignia this year, if not the setup for it. So I'm excited for the Ignia arc. Maybe we'll get some more lore on the dragons and Ignia himself, learn more about him, and maybe more of the history of the dragon gods and the dragons and the Giltina. And maybe we'll even see a flashback of him trying to fight Acnologia. We know for sure that Alderon fought Acnologia, we just don't know for sure if Ignia really did fight him. But if he did, it'd be nice to see a flashback of that confrontation. But yeah, the arc as a whole was disappointing. The chapter was not that great. But at the very least, we're getting stuff with Ignia. The Zignario sisters are coming back to showcase their real power. So hopefully we get some stuff with them. And Jalal seems to essentially be joining Fairy Tail for the rest of the 100 Years Quest. Now, where things are going from here, I'm not sure. It has been confirmed that we're entering the final arc, so for all we know, there's still a lot more of 100 Years Quest left to be done. But for now, that seems to be it. The Gold Owl arc has ended, and we're entering the Ignia arc finally. So, what did you guys think of this chapter? How did you feel about Viernes and this arc as a whole? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it showcases you guys enjoy the content and want to see more. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.